Mediterranean herbs like rosemary, oregano, thyme, and sage are celebrated for their resilience, fragrance, and culinary magic, but even these hardy plants struggle when the soil beneath them holds too much water or dries inconsistently. For generations, gardeners in Mediterranean climates discovered a simple yet brilliant solution: a small layer of coarse sand or pea gravel directly beneath the roots. This deceptively easy technique balances drainage and moisture retention, preventing root rot during wet spells while supplying steady hydration during dry periods. Understanding and applying this root zone trick transforms the way herbs thrive, even in variable weather. The secret to drought-proofing herbs is creating the perfect drainage foundation. Herbs such as rosemary and oregano evolved in rocky, well-draining soils. Their roots are adapted to seeking moisture but are highly sensitive to prolonged wet conditions. Modern garden soils, often rich in organic matter or clay, can trap water and suffocate roots, leading to rot. Grandparent gardeners recognized that a thin layer of coarse sand or pea gravel beneath the root zone mimicked the natural conditions of the Mediterranean hillsides. This layer acts as a miniature reservoir, allowing water to drain quickly from the root crown while maintaining enough capillary action to feed the roots gradually. To apply this technique, select coarse sand or pea gravel with particles roughly 4 to 8 millimeters in diameter. Fine sand alone is insufficient because it can compact and retain too much water, while very large gravel can leave gaps that roots cannot bridge. A 2 to 3 inch layer beneath the planting zone is usually adequate. In a backyard herb bed, this means digging down about 6 inches, adding the gravel or sand layer, and then placing your planting mix or native soil on top. This simple foundation is the difference between soggy, struggling plants and robust aromatic herbs. The key is integrating sand or gravel during planting rather than afterward. Timing matters. If you sprinkle gravel or sand on the surface after planting, it will have little effect on drainage or root health. Instead, prepare the planting hole or bed before inserting the herb. For rosemary, which thrives in mounded soil, create a small rise of gravel or sand, then plant the herb so that its crown sits just above this layer. For sprawling herbs like oregano, ensure the sand or gravel layer is continuous under the root spread. This setup guarantees that roots will establish in a medium that drains excess water quickly but still retains enough moisture for growth. So, after you've planted your herbs, you'll want to gently water them to help settle the soil around the roots. But hey, be careful not to saturate the top layer too much. The trick here is that a combination of a coarse sublayer and a lightly compacted soil surface actually encourages the roots to grow downward and outward. This way, they form a dense network that can access both moisture and oxygen really efficiently. Over time, these roots become more resilient to both drought and those occasional heavy rains, allowing your Mediterranean herbs to flourish with, well, minimal intervention. Balancing moisture retention and drainage is key to preventing extremes, you know? A common mistake gardeners often make is overcompensating for drainage by adding too much sand or gravel. While the goal is to prevent waterlogging, too much drainage can actually create a desert-like effect, causing roots to dry out rapidly, especially during those hot, sunny periods. The ideal ratio in a standard herb bed is roughly 2 to 3 inches of coarse sand or gravel beneath 6 to 8 inches of planting soil. This setup creates a transitional layer that moderates extremes, ensuring your herbs get enough moisture without the risk of root rot. Mulching above the soil layer further enhances the system. A thin layer of straw, pine needles, or shredded leaves retains surface moisture, moderates soil temperature, and reduces evaporation. Combined with the sand or gravel layer below, this dual approach creates a natural buffer against both heavy rainfall and drought, kind of replicating the microclimate of Mediterranean hillsides. Applying this technique to container-grown herbs requires a slight adjustment. Many gardeners grow Mediterranean herbs in pots, which are especially prone to root rot. The root zone trick translates perfectly to containers. Begin with a 2-inch layer of pea gravel or coarse sand at the bottom, then add a well-draining soil mix composed of equal parts garden soil, compost, and coarse sand or perlite. Avoid waterlogging by making sure drainage holes remain unobstructed. The gravel layer allows excess water to flow away while roots access sufficient moisture, and the soil above retains nutrients. Routine observation remains important. Mediterranean herbs prefer soil that is slightly dry between watering cycles. Check roots periodically in newly planted beds or pots to ensure they are firm and healthy. With the gravel sand foundation, plants recover quickly from minor neglect or inconsistent rainfall, providing peace of mind during periods of unpredictable weather. The root zone trick builds resilient, flavorful herbs that thrive in variable climates. By layering coarse sand or pea gravel beneath the root zone, you are not just improving drainage, you are mimicking centuries-old gardening wisdom. Herbs develop stronger root systems, resist fungal diseases, and remain vigorous through fluctuating weather. Over time, the soil structure around these herbs improves naturally, and plants produce more aromatic leaves, essential oils, and blooms. This ancient technique, used by grandparent gardeners for generations, transforms both soil health and plant performance with minimal ongoing effort. If this guide helps you give your Mediterranean herbs the foundation they deserve, subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share this video with fellow gardeners. Mastering the root zone is one of the simplest ways to protect herbs, prevent disease, and enjoy a thriving, drought-resistant garden season after season.